Before today's video, I'd just like to say that it's VE Day today. So it's a day for celebration, it's a day for remembrance, it's a day for all those things. However, I'd like to show you a small find. Whilst cleaning out my old shed, I found this. It's a bit moth-eaten, it has holes in it, but it's a memory. It's a memory of all those people that came back home and that survived and carried on. Now, I hope you have a wonderful day today, a day of remembrance, as I've said, and a celebration. So thank you for watching. Sit back and enjoy today's Jeremy's Yorkshire allotment adventures on this very special day. You're probably wondering why I'm wearing my bowler hat. Well, I've decided to be a foreman of the gardens today. In the Victorian era, you could recognise who was in charge by the hat they wore, especially when they were a gardener. Now take Chatsworth House for example in Derbyshire. If I wore this hat whilst gardening, it meant that I was a foreman of the gardens, yes, so I've got my foreman's hat on. And if you were a lowly normal gardener, you just wear a flat cap. However, if you were someone very important like Joseph Paxton, who of course designed the gardens at Chatsworth House, then you wore a top hat. So obviously I'm not elevated enough to wear a top hat, so I'll stick with the bowler, thank you very much. Charles Dickens once said he was the busiest man in England. He had his fingers in all sorts of pies. Whilst working at Chatsworth, he was there at an era when people could travel. And he travelled all over the place with the 6th Duke of Devonshire. And during that time, the craze began for plant hunting. And Chatsworth wanted to be ahead of anybody else, so they employed a guy called John Gibson, who was just a gardener at Chatsworth House, and he became a plant hunter extraordinaire. He went off down towards Calcutta and then explored all the region and brought back many, hundreds, thousands possibly, we'll never really know how much he brought back, of orchids and plants of colour. And I say plants of colour because before very little colour in the natural garden, it tended to be green, box hedges, very formal, and Paxton and the rest of his peers began to invent gardens and design gardens that were different. But these gardens needed colour. And Paxton had always been interested in light, and he designed a massive greenhouse at Chatsworth House. Unfortunately, it's no longer with us. And that housed all of these tropical plants that were brought back. And lots of things were brought back, orchids particularly, but palm trees, banana plants, imagine that, never seen a banana before very much. And the reason I'm talking about this today, because I want to talk about propagators. And propagators, they began really in this era, in the Victorian era, the early Victorian era. I'm talking 1830s and 40s, possibly a little bit before. However, to get these plants back, how would they do it? How could they bring them from Calcutta in India all the way across the sea, 6 months probably, to Liverpool the docks and then down through the canals without the seawater affecting the plants? They used propagators. Except they weren't called propagators then, they were called Wardian cases. Now Wardian cases weren't like this, made of plastic of course, they were made of glass. In fact they were very similar to this, but mini greenhouses. And what they would do, they'd put the natural soil in the bottom, a bit like this here, put the plants inside and then seal the glass. It would never be opened until it got back here into this country, because it became a natural little environment all by itself, self-watering, and it would keep it. In fact, if you look at my propagator here, you can see what happens. Look, can you see? There's moisture. I have a wet finger now, it's moisture, and that's what they wanted, to keep the moisture going whilst travelling along the seas for 6 months to get back here to this country. In fact, John Gibson was away for 2 years in total, hunting for plants. And when he came back, he became the keeper of the orchids at Chatsworth House. Well, I hope you've enjoyed my explanation about where propagators came from and their origins. Wardian cases. Yeah, isn't it exciting? We have a link back to the days of the early gardeners. Well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon here on the Yorkshire.